The AI skill that's replacing prompt engineering. What might that be? Well, it's context engineering, and it's changing everything. And this is what you need to know to stay ahead in the AI revolution, because it's not the same thing. So last year, a lot of people were thinking about prompt engineering, right? That you have to give the AI good inputs to get good outputs. Fair enough. But what's the next level? And this is what we're building now for our clients, for people that work with, essentially systems that can understand better your context. So it's not enough that you give it just a prompt. It needs to understand, what do you repeatedly do every day? What is your niche? What kind of results are you looking for? And that is all about context engineering, which we will talk today, showing you some practical applications of it, how it looks like, and how to start. This is a complete beginner's guide pretty much. I'm going to explain to you so you understand what this is, and then we're also going to give you some ideas to apply this stuff. All right, ready? Let's go. I'm Alex, the AI guy with the golden tie, and today we're going to learn some valuable things. All right, so the good old prompt engineering is like somebody shouting at the restaurant, make me something delicious. Yeah, you might get something good or not. You don't know. Context engineering is like talking with a waiter that knows exactly your dietary restrictions, your favorite recipes. This is a whole different game. And this is why this kind of stuff is valuable for you to understand and leverage if you want to stay ahead in the AI game. All right. It's also about building these systems with variables, especially if you're thinking further on to build agents, right? These require proper context of your business, your activities, your daily stuff that you do in order to give you the best result, because it's going to be repeated actions, right? So this is why we will try to find systems today and help you a little bit to start really easy, so you understand how you can inject basically context in your prompts, in your agents repeatedly, so you get the best results. So think of it this way. It's basically good old prompt engineering is like you're going to give a prompt and you get some form of result, but it's not consistent enough. Meanwhile, with context engineering, which is kind of the new kid on the block, now you have options there to properly inject input into your AI interactions. And you saw it, for example, a little bit in the form of memory inside ChatGPT, where it picks up context about you and you don't see it, but in the back end, it always adds those little bits of information about you, so you get cool results from ChatGPT, right? So it can tell you stuff that's contextual, that is customized to you. And you probably noticed that the experience is much, much better. If you didn't try out the memory feature of ChatGPT, you might want to turn it on, because I've been using it for like 2 years at this point, and it's really cool when it knows me and what I need to do at the gym and what I can order for dinner, or how I can help specific clients with projects that I was working with them for like 3 to 4 months ago. Really cool feature. So talking about memory, it's also understanding that these systems do actually have capabilities of memorizing stuff in terms of short term, right, inside one conversation, but also long term, where you are able to create a brain for these agents or these chatbots, where, for example, the simplest way to start this is by simply giving it sometimes a PDF. I have like a 37 pages PDF on the context of my business, what services we offer to companies, founders, to help them get ahead with AI, to train their teams, right? And it's like 37 pages of documentation. When I need a deeper answer, I usually feed this to the different AIs that we use, like Gemini, Claude, whatever, and I tell it, here is contextual information that you need to know before you answer my question. Now, here's my question. Let's brainstorm this together, or let's find some solutions. So as you see, it's not the simple good old prompt like, hey, I'm a consultant, help me out, or whatever. This is like, here is exact parameters of what we do. For example, here are previous conversations that we had. So based on this context, give me more specific insights. You'll notice it's not the same thing, and one of them is much more valuable than the other. This is why context engineering is slowly replacing prompt engineering. I mean, it's a level up. It's new skills that it's important to acquire for you, especially if you're starting now your AI journey, all right? It's basically the foundation layer. It's your system instructions. The additional layer, the second layer, will be relevant background information on this specific situation that you have. For example, base layer, your business information. Middle layer is going to be situational information on this. And then the top layer, the icing on the cake, is going to be your specific request in this situation, right? So just 3 layers. Think of it that way, as a cake where you have business information, situational information, and your request based on this information. And that's going to make a little bit of a difference when you interact with these systems, because no matter how smart they are, they're getting as smart as a PhD according to latest resources. If your prompts are low level or they don't have proper context, it's not going to work as well as you would expect. And this is why context engineering does have a significant impact here. And some real world use cases, if you want to know more about this, right? It can be for your customer support agents. The AI ones, of course, is like the ones that we build, where we can give them a brain with contextual information about the client interactions that you had in the past or your specific business information. And of course, they're 10 times better because they remember the people or your products or how you normally navigate those situations. So that is valuable, for example, to support your users. Personalized learning, if we do something like a mentor AI or like some kind of these agents that teach people. I have a few though for some specific use cases, but I mean simply remembering the past interactions, right? If you want to learn a different language or something like that, instead of starting from scratch every time, personalizing the interaction to you is a game changer. It's very valuable, right? Because you don't want to keep restarting from zero. You want to keep building on these interactions. And that's again where context engineering does make a difference. Content creation, super important. We have these agents that can basically run your LinkedIn or your Twitter accounts and do stuff for you, but they need to remember your tone of voice, who you are, how you normally write, and what's your content calendar, right? And keep building on that. That's why we have context and we build upon it. So this is again an area where this kind of skill and understanding it and applying it properly does make a difference. So to get started, something simple, an exercise that I can give you today to help you understand at least is pick something you do regularly with AI, all right? Like a task that's repetitive, for example, writing or research or planning or whatever. Now figure out what background information is always relevant, that you kind of need to repeat to it every time, or what changes between the various sessions, or what external information could be useful for your requests, these repetitive requests, all right? You will create then a context template, so some information that you put it in one PDF, on one doc, or whatever, you have it there. Also, one tool that I can definitely recommend you to try out for free is TextBlaze, that allows you to basically create shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts. So you have all this context, like for example, how I do it, and you simply can give it the shortcut, the keyboard shortcut, and it pastes you the whole context of that you need in that conversation. So it can help you really cut out time and make this whole process much simpler, easier, cooler, and faster. Try it out for a few days. So add more context if needed, but start practicing these things because these are impacting a lot currently, the AI niche, like how we're seeing developments, how people are using these systems in a smart way. So this does make a difference and you need to stay ahead. That's why I'm doing these videos, to educate you so you can keep winning during the AI revolution, all right? From today's video, write some key takeaways that you can take from this and think about and start experimenting and having some fun. Basically, it's context engineering is more about the systems, not just the prompts, right? You have to think in systems. That's why you're not just a writer of prompts, you're more of an architect because you see the whole scenario behind these interactions, right? That's why you have all this content that's necessary to get the best results from AI. Start simple. I gave you a little exercise to do to try out, but you can add complexity more and more, especially if you want to build AI agents and stuff like that do need better context. I can help you with that. My team can help you with that, but like at least start simple so you understand these differences that are important and have some fun. And also it's kind of the future of AI interaction, like a little key takeaway in my opinion. And this is where everybody's going. OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, they all want these kind of personalized assistant that knows everything about you. And you also want this, right? So this is context engineering and it's part of it, of this whole paradigm shift. All right, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to support you and see you in the next video. Alex, your AI guy with the golden tie, signing out. Ciao.